Ah, di ba nasa mo sinester? $1.1K, yo! Oh, okay. Hi guys, welcome in. There you go, there you go. Look at God, man. There you go. Hey yo. Help us out. Hope y'all doing well, man. God bless y'all. Jesus, you got us here. Peace and resting in Jesus Christ. That's the opposite of rest and peace. It's peace and rest. Peace, love, and light to the whole world. God bless. It's a hard beat. Saw it. Nice. It's a good beat. Yes, sir. Hey, yeah. Solution as to y'all. LA, come on. We're going up like up. Hey, let's go, hey. Yeah. That's hard. I like that. Looks like low tide. Shout out low tide. Still love this prevail. Thank you, Jesus. Ugh. It's hard. That's not very sick. Nice. Oh, we're quiet.
child, stop for a moment and listen carefully, because what I am about to tell you may protect your life from something you cannot yet see. You may think this is just another Stop for a moment and listen carefully, because what I am about to tell you may protect your life from something you cannot yet see. You may think this is just another message, another voice passing through your day. But I need you to understand that this moment carries weight. I am trying to save you from a tragedy that is forming quietly in your path. And if you walk away too quickly, you may miss the warning that could change everything. Stay with me and hear every word, because what I reveal will open your eyes to something you almost stepped into without realizing it. Do not rush past this moment. Let these words reach you fully, because by the time we reach the end, you will understand why I had to stop you before it was too late. My child, come closer for a moment and listen to me carefully. I know your mind has been busy lately, moving quickly from one thought to another, trying to make sense of things that feel uncertain. You have been carrying questions that you have not spoken out loud to anyone. I see those thoughts clearly because nothing about your heart is hidden from me. Right now you may feel as though you are simply moving through another ordinary day, scrolling, thinking, searching for something that you cannot quite name. But I need you to understand something important. This moment between you and me is not random. I stepped into this very moment because I could see the direction your life was beginning to move, and I could not allow you to continue walking forward without speaking to you first. When a father sees his child moving toward something dangerous, he does not wait until the harm happens before he speaks. He calls out while there is still time to turn and walk a safer road. That is exactly what I am doing with you right now. You may not realize how close. Calls out while there is still time to turn and walk a safer road. That is exactly what I am doing with you right now. You may not realize how close you have come to a decision that could open the door to something deeply painful. From where you stand, it may look small, almost insignificant, like just another step in your everyday life. But I see much further ahead than you do. I can see where that path bends and where it eventually leads, and I care far too much about you to stay silent while you continue walking toward something that could wound your spirit in ways you were never meant to carry.
Thank you, God, for waking us up. Thank you, God, for waking us up. Waking me up. Life is a gift anyway, so thank you, God, for waking us up.
Eventually lead decision, time to turn and walk a safer road. That is exact, and I could not allow you to continue walking forward without speaking to you first. When a father sees his child moving toward something dangerous, he does not wait until the harm happens before he speaks. He calls out while there is still time to turn and walk a safer road. That is exactly what I am doing with you right now. You may not realize how close you have come to a decision that could open the door to something deeply painful. From where you stand, it may look small, almost insignificant, like just another step in your everyday life. But I see much further ahead than you do. I can see where that path bends and where it eventually leads, and I care far too much about you to stay silent while you continue walking toward something that could wound your spirit in ways you were never meant to carry. My child, you are not careless or foolish. I know your intentions have been sincere. You have simply been tired, and when the heart grows tired, it becomes easier to accept things that promise relief. I understand that feeling. I have watched you search for peace in ways that seemed reasonable at the time. But sometimes the choices that appear harmless in the present quietly plant seeds that grow into something painful later. That is why I reached into this moment now. I wanted you to hear my voice before that seed had the chance to grow any further. I know you may feel a little unsettled as you hear me speak like this. Your mind might even be trying to explain it away, or convince you that I am exaggerating the seriousness of what lies ahead. That reaction is natural. When a person suddenly becomes aware that they may have been moving toward danger without realizing it, their first instinct is often disbelief. I am not offended by that response because I understand the way your mind works. You want to believe that everything will work itself out without needing to change direction. But listen to me gently here. I am not asking you to feel fear. I am inviting you to pause long enough to see what I see. If you allow yourself a moment of stillness, you may begin to remember the small signals that have already passed through your life recently. Your moments when something inside you felt slightly uneasy even though nothing looked wrong on the surface. You felt a hesitation that you could not fully explain. At the time you may have ignored it, assuming it was simply stress or overthinking. That quiet hesitation was me trying to reach your heart before things moved any further. You are deeply loved, my child, and that love is the reason I refuse to remain silent when I see you approaching something that could hurt you. If my heart did not care about your life, I would simply allow you to walk wherever you wished without speaking at all. But you are not just another person wandering through this world without meaning. Your life carries purpose, even in ways you do not yet understand. Every step you take shapes the future that will unfold before you, and I want that future to hold peace rather than regret. When I look at you, I do not see your mistakes or the doubts you sometimes carry about yourself. I see someone who has endured more emotional weight than most people realize. I see someone who has kept going through moments when it would have been easier to give up. You may not think of yourself as strong, but I have watched the quiet resilience inside you for a very long time. Because I know your heart so well, I also understand how easily you could have continued walking forward without noticing the danger that was forming ahead. That is why I chose this moment to interrupt your path. I needed you could have, because I know your heart so well. I also understand how easily you could have continued walking forward without noticing the danger that was forming ahead. That is why I chose this moment to interrupt your path. I needed you to hear my voice clearly before the situation grew more complicated. I wanted to reach you while the decision was still within your control. You may not yet know exactly which choice I am referring to, but something inside you already senses what I mean. There is a situation, a person, or a direction that has been slowly drawing your attention. On the surface it may look like an opportunity, or perhaps it appears to be the answer to something you have been hoping for. But the deeper reality is different from what you currently see. If you keep walking toward it without reflection, it can slowly entangle your life in ways that would be difficult to untangle later. I say this not to alarm you, but to give you the clarity you deserve before you move any further. My child, I want you to know that nothing about this moment is meant to shame you. What I mean, I chose this moment to interrupt your path. I wanted to reach you while the decision was still within your control. You may not yet know exactly which choice I am referring to, but something inside you already senses what I mean. There is a situation, a person, or a direction that has been slowly drawing your attention. On the surface it may look like an opportunity has been slowly. There is a situation, a person, or a direction that has been slowly drawing your attention. On the surface it may look like an opportunity, or perhaps it appears to be the answer to something you have been hoping for. But the deeper reality is different from what you currently see. If you keep walking toward it without reflection, it can slowly entangle your life in ways that would be difficult to untangle later. I say this not to alarm you, but to give you the clarity you deserve before you move any further. My child, I want you to know that nothing about this moment is meant to shame you. I am not correcting you because you have done something wrong. I am speaking because I want to protect you from something you were never meant to experience. When a father places a hand on his child's shoulder and gently turns them away from danger, that action is not punishment. It is love in its most protective form. That is what this moment is between us. I am placing my hand on your shoulder and asking you to pause with me for a while. Take a breath. Let your thoughts slow down. The path ahead does not have to unfold the way it was beginning to. There is still time to see things clearly, and once you see clearly, the direction of your life can shift in ways that protect your heart and restore your peace. Before we go any further, I want you to sit with what I have just told you. Let these words settle in your mind rather than rushing past them. You do not need to respond right away or force yourself to understand everything immediately. Just remain here with me for a moment and allow your heart to become quiet enough to hear what I will reveal next. My child, I want to speak with you about the direction those signals were trying to warn you about. There is a certain path that has been forming quietly in front of you. At first it seemed simple, almost comforting, like a solution appearing at the right moment. You may have felt a sense of relief when the possibility first appeared in your life. From where you stood, it looked like something that could ease the tension you have been carrying. But I need you to understand that appearances can sometimes hide deeper realities. The road you were beginning to consider holds complications that would slowly grow heavier with time. I saw how easily you could have continued walking forward without realizing what would eventually unfold. That is why I intervened before the situation reached a point where turning back would feel much harder. Imagine for a moment that you are walking along a quiet road through a landscape that seems peaceful and open. At the beginning, everything looks calm and welcoming. The path appears smooth. The scenery feels inviting, and nothing suggests that danger lies ahead. But further down that road, beyond the place where your eyes can see, the ground begins to change. What once looked stable becomes uneven. What once felt safe slowly turns into something unstable. From your current position, you cannot see that shift, but I can see it clearly because my perspective stretches beyond the present moment. When I saw you stepping onto that road, my heart moved with urgency because I knew the journey ahead would lead you into circumstances that would burden your spirit. My intention was not to frighten you. My intention was to protect you before the journey reached the difficult point. You may wonder why something that looks so promising could carry hidden trouble beneath its surface. Life often presents opportunities that appear attractive because they address immediate needs. When you have been longing for clarity, any path that offers direction can feel like an answer to prayer, because they address immediate needs. When you have been opportunities that appear attractive because its surface. Life often presents opportunities that appear attractive because they address immediate needs. When you have been longing for clarity, any path that offers direction can feel like an answer to prayer. But not every opportunity carries the peace that truly belongs in your life. Some possibilities come with unseen complications attached to them. They may involve people whose intentions are not as sincere as they appear. They may involve circumstances that slowly drain your emotional strength instead of restoring it. You deserve more than temporary relief followed by deeper struggle. That is why I needed you to pause and examine what was beginning to form around you. I wanted you to see that the path you were considering was not the peaceful road it seemed to be. And now listen carefully, my child. I am not telling you that every step you take must be perfect. Life is not meant to be lived under the pressure of constant fear about making mistakes. I speak to you because this particular situation carries a weight that could shape your future in painful ways if it continues unchecked. When I listen carefully, my child, I am not telling you that every step you take must be perfect. Life is not meant to be lived under the pressure of constant fear about making mistakes. I speak to you because this particular situation carries a weight that could shape your future in painful ways if it continues unchecked. When I look at your life, I see potential for joy, stability, and deep peace that grows stronger over time. The path you were beginning to consider would slowly move you away from that future. At first, the difference would be small, almost invisible. But over time, the distance between the life you deserve and the life you were moving toward would become painfully clear. That is why I stepped in now. I did not want you to wake up later feeling trapped in circumstances that could have been avoided. So here is what I ask of you right now. Pause and examine the direction that has been pulling your attention recently. Look at it honestly without trying to justify it or defend it. Ask yourself whether it truly brings peace to your heart or whether it simply promises quick relief from the pressures you have been feeling. I want you to step back and breathe before moving forward again. Do not rush towards something simply because it seems easier than waiting. Your life deserves thoughtful decisions that protect your future rather than complicate it. Stay close to me in this moment. Listen carefully as your understanding begins to deepen. The more clearly you see the path before you, the easier it will become to choose the direction that leads you away from the tragedy I am trying to save you from. My child, I know the exhaustion you have been feeling. I have watched you move through days that felt heavier than you ever expected them to be. You have carried responsibilities, worries, and quiet disappointments that no one else fully understands. From the outside, your life may appear steady, but inside your mind there have been long stretches of uncertainty where you wondered whether things would ever become easier. I have seen the way you tried to remain strong even when your thoughts were crowded with concerns. You kept moving forward because you believed that stopping would only make the weight feel heavier, but that constant effort has slowly drained your clarity. When the heart becomes tired, It begins to look for quick relief rather than wise direction. That is exactly the moment when dangerous paths begin to appear attractive. Take a moment right now and breathe slowly with me. Do not rush past this invitation. Let your shoulders relax and allow your thoughts to settle. I want you to notice something important about the state your heart has been in recently. When a person becomes emotionally worn down, their ability to evaluate situations clearly begins to fade. Choices that once would have raised immediate concern suddenly feel acceptable because they promise a sense of relief. You may have noticed this happening within yourself. A possibility appeared that seemed like it might ease your pressure. Perhaps it offered comfort, attention, financial stability, or a feeling of belonging you have been longing for. From your current perspective, that possibility looked like a doorway out of the tension you have been living with. But I need you to see what your exhaustion has made difficult to recognize. The relief you thought you saw was not as safe as it appeared. Beneath the surface, there were layers of complexity that would slowly pull you deeper into stress rather than freeing you from it. I understand why your heart leaned toward that direction. You have been searching for a place where your spirit can finally rest. You have spent so much time solving problems, supporting others, and trying to hold your life together that the thought of immediate relief felt incredibly appealing. I do not criticize you for that reaction. Any person who has carried the emotional weight you have been carrying would eventually long for a simpler path. But listen to me carefully now, my child. The moment when you feel most desperate for relief is also the moment when you must slow down the most. When the heart becomes overwhelmed, it begins to accept promises that have not been carefully examined. The world is full of situations that appear comforting at first but slowly transform into something far heavier than what they initially seemed. I did not want you to walk into one of those situations without understanding what it could become. You may remember moments recently when you felt slightly uneasy about the direction things were moving, even though part of you wanted to continue. That quiet uneasiness was not weakness. It was wisdom trying to speak within you. I placed that awareness in your heart because I wanted you to pause long enough to examine the road ahead. Now I am asking you to do something very simple but very powerful. Step back mentally from the situation that has been drawing your attention. Look at it again as if you were observing it from a distance. Ask yourself whether the peace you felt was genuine peace or simply temporary comfort. True peace has a steady, grounding quality that does not rush you into decisions. False comfort pushes you forward quickly because it depends on urgency to hide its deeper complications. Stay with me here for a moment longer. I want you to understand that your exhaustion does not define you. The heaviness you have been carrying is not permanent. You are allowed to rest without accepting paths that compromise your future. In fact, the safest thing you can do right now is slow down the pace of your decisions. Give yourself permission to pause. Step away from the pressure that has been urging you forward. When your mind becomes calm again, your ability to see clearly will return. And once clarity returns, the difference between a healthy path and a harmful one will become much easier to recognize. My child, you are stronger than your tired thoughts have allowed you to believe. Let this moment become a reset for your spirit. Sit quietly, breathe deeply, and allow my guidance to settle into your heart. The tragedy I warned you about can still be avoided, and this pause you are taking right now is the first step toward protecting your future. My child, I want to speak with you about something else that has been influencing the direction of your life. The people around you play a much larger role in your decisions than you sometimes realize. Every conversation, every suggestion, and every shared opinion leaves a small impression on your thinking. Over time, those impressions gather together and begin shaping the way you see your own situation. Some of the voices around you have encouraged you sincerely because they care about your well-being. Others have spoken from their own experiences, hopes, or frustrations without realizing how their words might affect you. None of this makes them enemies or bad people. It simply means that human guidance is limited. People can only speak from what they personally understand. I, however, see the entire landscape of your life in ways that no human voice ever could. Consider for a moment how easily advice can sound convincing when it comes from someone you trust. A friend may tell you that a certain opportunity looks promising. A colleague might suggest that you move quickly before the chance disappears. Even someone who loves you deeply might encourage a direction that seems practical from their perspective. Your intentions may be genuine, yet their understanding of the future remains incomplete. They cannot see the hidden consequences that may be waiting further down the road. I see those things clearly, and that difference in perspective is exactly why I stepped into this conversation with you. I do not want you to follow voices that sound confident but cannot see where the path eventually leads. Let me invite you to do something right now. Think about the people who have influenced your thinking during the last few weeks. Picture the conversations you have had and the advice that was offered. As you remember those moments, ask yourself a simple question. Did those voices bring you lasting peace, or did they create a sense of urgency that pushed you toward a quick decision? Guidance that truly protects you rarely demands immediate action. It encourages patience because it understands that wise decisions grow clearer over time. Pressure, on the other hand, often comes from voices that are focused only on the present moment. They may not realize that their advice is guiding you toward something complicated. This is why I ask you to slow down and listen carefully to the quiet guidance within your heart. That inner awareness is where my wisdom speaks most clearly. My child, you do not need to reject the people in your life in order to follow my guidance. Instead, learn to weigh their words gently without surrendering your own discernment. Listen respectfully, but do not allow anyone's opinion to replace the quiet clarity that grows inside you when you take time to reflect. I want you to develop the confidence to pause before acting on suggestions that feel rushed or incomplete. When you step back and allow your mind to breathe, the truth about a situation begins to reveal itself gradually. Details that once seemed insignificant start to become meaningful. Patterns that once felt confusing start to align into a clear picture. That clarity is one of the greatest protections you can carry through life. Here is what I want you to do next. Take a step back from the voices that have been urging you forward. Give yourself space to hear your own thoughts again. Spend time in quiet reflection instead of rushing toward decisions that others believe are urgent. When you create that space, my guidance will become easier for you to recognize. You will begin to sense the difference between a path that simply sounds appealing and a path that truly protects your future. My child, trust that you are not alone in navigating these choices. I am here with you, speaking through the calm wisdom that grows stronger whenever you allow your mind to slow down. Remain patient, remain thoughtful, and allow my perspective to guide you beyond the noise of competing voices. When you do, the direction that leads you safely away from tragedy will become unmistakably clear. My child, I want to speak to you about something difficult, not because I want to frighten you, but because you deserve to understand what I see beyond the horizon of your present moment. From where you stand right now, life looks like a series of small steps. You see the next decision, the next opportunity, the next conversation that might shape your path. That is the natural way human vision works. Your eyes and your thoughts focus on what is directly in front of you. But my perspective is different. I see how those small steps connect together over time, forming roads that stretch far beyond the place where you are currently standing. And when I look at the direction you were beginning to move toward, I can see where that road eventually leads if nothing interrupts it. Picture a road that begins gently, almost invitingly. At the entrance, everything looks calm and comfortable. The surface appears smooth beneath your feet, and the atmosphere around you feels reassuring. If you were standing there alone without guidance, you might naturally assume that the entire journey ahead would remain just as peaceful. But further along that same road, the ground begins to shift in ways that are not visible from the starting point. The path slowly narrows. The terrain becomes uneven. What once felt stable begins to demand more energy, more compromise, and more emotional strain than you ever expected when you first stepped onto it. I have watched countless lives follow similar roads. Many of those journeys began with the same quiet optimism you felt when this possibility first appeared in your life. But as time passed, the people walking those roads realized that what seemed like a blessing at the beginning slowly turned into something that drained their peace and tangled their future. And now listen carefully, my child, because I want you to understand something very important. The tragedy I am warning you about is not always a sudden disaster that appears overnight. More often it grows slowly through a series of choices that seem harmless in isolation. A conversation leads to a commitment. A commitment leads to deeper involvement. Before long, the situation becomes complex enough that stepping away feels difficult. That is how many painful stories begin. They rarely start with obvious danger. They start with something that looks helpful, comforting, or exciting in the moment. That is why I stepped into your life at this exact time. I wanted you to pause before the situation progressed far enough to create emotional chains around your future. Let me ask you to do something right now. Imagine your life several years from this moment. Picture the kind of peace you truly desire. You long for stability, meaningful relationships, and a sense that your life is moving in a direction that nourishes your spirit rather than exhausting it. That future is possible for you. I can see it clearly because I understand the purpose woven into your life. But the road you were beginning to follow would slowly move you away from that future. At first, the difference would feel small. You might barely notice the shift. Over time, however, the distance between your true calling and the circumstances surrounding you would become much larger than you ever intended. I do not want you to wake up one day feeling trapped inside a situation that could have been avoided. I have seen how deeply regret can wound a person's spirit. Regret whispers questions that echo through the mind long after the moment of decision has passed. It asks why certain warnings were ignored and why certain paths were chosen without careful reflection. I am speaking now because I want to protect you from carrying those kinds of questions later in life. You deserve a future shaped by wisdom rather than regret. So here is what I invite you to do. Stop walking forward for a moment. Stand still and examine the road ahead with calm honesty. Do not allow excitement, pressure, or temporary comfort to rush your decision. Look carefully at the people involved, the commitments that may develop, and the long-term impact those commitments could have on your peace. Ask yourself whether this path supports the life you truly want to build. If the answer feels uncertain, do not move forward yet. Give yourself the gift of time and clarity. When you slow down long enough to see clearly, the path that protects your future will begin to stand out from the one that quietly leads toward difficulty. My child, I want you to focus on the most important action you can take in this moment. Pause. That single choice carries more power than you might realize. When life feels uncertain, the world often encourages you to keep moving quickly so that opportunities do not slip away. You may hear voices telling you that hesitation could cause you to miss something valuable. But wisdom works differently. Wisdom understands that the most important decisions in life deserve careful attention rather than hurried action. I am inviting you into a moment of stillness, because stillness creates the space where clarity begins to grow. Right now, your thoughts may still be moving quickly as you process everything I have shared with you. That is natural. Your mind is trying to connect the pieces of a situation that once felt simple but now appears more complicated. Instead of trying to solve everything immediately, I want you to step back and breathe. Take a quiet moment away from the noise around you. Let your attention settle into the present. When you give yourself that space, something remarkable begins to happen inside your heart. The tension that once put you toward quick decisions starts to loosen its grip. Your thinking becomes calmer. Your awareness becomes sharper. In that calmer state, you begin to see details that were invisible when your mind was rushing forward. Let me speak directly to you here. You do not need to prove anything to anyone by moving quickly. Your life is not a race against time. The direction of your future is far more important than the speed at which you travel toward it. When you pause, you are not losing opportunities. You are protecting your ability to recognize the right opportunities when they appear. There is a powerful difference between urgency and purpose. Urgency pushes you forward without reflection. Purpose invites you to move thoughtfully so that each step strengthens your future rather than complicating it. Now I want you to accept an invitation from me. Set aside a quiet moment today and reflect on the path that has been forming around you. Do not rush through that reflection. Allow your thoughts to move slowly and honestly. Ask yourself how each potential decision might affect your peace in the long run. Pay attention to the emotions that rise as you consider each possibility. True peace carries a steady calm that does not pressure you to act immediately. False excitement often comes with a sense of urgency that pushes you forward before you have fully examined the consequences. My child, I am not asking you to abandon hope or retreat from life. I am asking you to protect the future that is meant for you. The tragedy I warned you about can still be avoided completely if you choose to slow down and examine the direction of your steps. That power belongs to you. I will continue guiding you as long as you remain willing to listen. When you create space for reflection and wisdom, you allow my voice to become clearer within your heart. Stay patient. Stay thoughtful. Let this moment of pause become the turning point that leads you safely away from the danger you could not yet see. My child, as you pause and allow wisdom to quiet the noise around you, listen carefully to another invitation I place before your heart. The words you are hearing are not meant for you alone. There are many wandering in confusion who have not yet heard this warning I am sending through this message. When you support this mission through super thanks, becoming a member of this channel, or giving through the PayPal link in the description, you become like the one who sows seed into a field that is ready for harvest. Did I not say, the one who sows generously will also reap generously? Each gift you release becomes oil in a lamp that carries my light to someone standing in darkness, someone I am also trying to save from a tragedy they cannot yet see. If your heart has been stirred even slightly to help this message travel further, that stirring is my spirit prompting you now. Those who open their hands to sustain my work will see provision, protection, and unexpected favor follow them like rivers after rain. So act with obedience and faith. Send your super thanks. Become a member, or so through the PayPal link in the description now. My child, I want you to imagine something with me, not as a story, but as a picture of what has been quietly unfolding around you. Think of a doorway standing in front of you. At first glance it looks welcoming. The frame is polished. The light beyond it seems warm, and from where you stand it appears like a simple step into something better. You might even feel a small pull toward it because the space behind you had been filled with uncertainty, and the thought of moving forward into something new feels comforting. I understand why that door caught your attention. When a heart grows weary, even a small promise of relief can feel like a sunrise after a long night. But listen carefully to me now. Not every open door leads to the place your life is meant to go. Some doors appear bright on the surface while quietly leading into rooms that become harder and harder to leave. You are closer to stepping through the door than you realize. From your perspective, it looked like an opportunity, something that might solve a few of the problems that have been weighing on your mind. Maybe it promised stability, maybe it offered attention or recognition, or maybe it simply looked like a quicker way to reach a place you have been hoping to find. None of those desires are wrong. Wanting peace, support, or progress is part of being human. But the problem with that particular doorway is what lies further inside. I can see the entire corridor beyond it. What begins as a comfortable entrance slowly becomes a narrow hallway filled with obligations you did not anticipate and emotional pressures you were never meant to carry. I've watched many people step through similar doors believing they were moving towards something good, only to discover later that the exit behind them had quietly closed. I want you to pause here and reflect on something. When you first noticed this opportunity, did your heart feel steady or did it feel hurried? Did it invite calm reflection, or did it seem to push you forward before you had time to think deeply about it? The difference between those two feelings matters more than you realize. True direction rarely demands urgency. When something is truly meant to strengthen your life, it allows space for clarity to develop. The doorway you were approaching carried a different energy. It nudged you toward quick agreement and quick commitment, almost as if waiting might cause the opportunity to disappear. That subtle pressure was the first sign that something about it was not aligned with the peace I want for you. Now I am asking you to do something important. Step back from that doorway in your mind. Do not rush toward it just because it still stands open. Look at it carefully. Examine the people, promises, and expectations connected to it. Ask yourself how your life might change months or years after stepping through it. I want you to picture the long road that would follow that decision. Imagine the responsibilities you would carry, the relationships that would form, and the ways your time and energy would be shaped by that choice. When you allow yourself to see that larger picture, the door may begin to look very different than it did when you first noticed it. My child, I am not trying to take opportunities away from you. I am protecting the opportunities that truly belong in your life. There are doors prepared for you that lead into spaces filled with peace rather than pressure. Those doors look very different than it did when you first noticed it. My child, I am not trying to take opportunities away from you. The relationships that would form, and the ways your time and energy would be shaped by that choice. Ask yourself how your life might change months or years after stepping through it. I want you to picture the long road that would follow that decision. Imagine the responsibilities you would carry, the relationships that would form, and the ways your time and energy would be shaped by that choice. When you allow yourself to see that larger picture, the door may begin to look very different than it did when you first noticed it. My child, I am not trying to take opportunities away from you. I am protecting the opportunities that truly belong in your life. There are doors prepared for you that lead into spaces filled with peace rather than pressure. Those doors will not rush you. They will welcome your patience because they are built on foundations that can support your future. The door you were approaching did not carry that same stability. That is why I placed this moment in front of you now. I wanted you to see the difference before you stepped inside. Those doors will not rush you. They will welcome your patience because they are built on foundations that can support your future. The door you were approaching did not carry that same stability. That is why I placed this moment in front of you now. I wanted you to see the difference before you stepped inside. Not carry that same stability. They will welcome your patience because they are built on foundations that can support your future. The door you were approaching did not carry that same stability. Your life. My child, I am not trying to take opportunities away from you. I am protecting the opportunities that truly belong in your life. There are doors prepared for you that lead into spaces filled with peace rather than pressure. Those doors will not rush you. They will welcome your patience because they are built on foundations that can support your future. The door you were approaching did not carry that same stability. That is why I placed this moment in front of you now. I wanted you to see the difference before you stepped inside. So take this invitation seriously. Slow down. Breathe. Let the excitement around that opportunity fade for a moment so you can see it clearly. When the emotional rush settles, your heart will recognize what your mind was struggling to explain. You will realize that the door you almost walked through was never meant to be your destination. It was simply a moment meant to test whether you would listen when I quietly asked you to pause. My child, I want to speak to you about something that has been hidden beneath your doubts. You have more strength inside you than you realize. I know there have been days when you questioned whether you were capable of making the right choices. I have heard the quiet thoughts that pass through your mind when things feel complicated. Sometimes you wonder whether you have already made too many mistakes or whether your judgment can truly be trusted. Those thoughts may feel convincing in the moment, but they do not tell the full story of who you are. Think about the road you have already walked. Your life has not been simple or effortless. There have been seasons when circumstances tested your patience and your courage at the same time. You have faced disappointments that forced you to rethink plans you once believed were certain. were capable of making the right choices. Simply a moment meant to test whether you would listen when I quietly asked you to pause. My child, I want to speak to you about something that has been hidden beneath your doubts. You have more strength inside you than you realize. I know there have been days when you questioned whether you were capable of making the right choices. I have heard the quiet thoughts that pass through your mind when things feel complicated. Sometimes you wonder whether you have already made too many mistakes or whether your judgment can truly be trusted. Those thoughts may feel convincing in the moment, but they do not tell the full story of who you are. Think about the road you have already walked. Your life has not been simple or effortless. There have been seasons when circumstances tested your patience and your courage at the same time. You have faced disappointments that forced you to rethink plans you once believed were certain. You have carried responsibilities that many people around you never fully noticed. Yet through all of that, you continued moving forward. Even when your confidence felt shaken, you kept searching for a better direction. That persistence reveals something important about you. It shows that your heart is stronger than the doubts that occasionally pass through your mind. I want you to remember that strength now. Do not allow fear of making a wrong decision to push you into choices that feel rushed. You have the ability to pause, reflect, and choose wisely. The strength I placed within you was never meant to operate in isolation. It grows clearer whenever you allow yourself to listen to the quiet wisdom that rises in your heart. That wisdom is not loud or dramatic. It often appears as a simple sense of calm understanding that gently guides you away from situations that would harm your peace.
Jesus is the King and He's alive. Hallelujah, Jesus is alive. I looked at the grave and the stone was rolled aside. As for me and my house, we will serve the Christ. Yes, hallelujah.
Let's go, come on. Jesus is the King, He is alive. King of all the kings, both dead and alive. The only Lord of Rings that's really alive. Only reason I'm alive, Jesus keep me alive. They say that kings do, they look towards the Christ. He's the one who made the makers of Spotify. Satan's got a few tricks, but they all full of lies. We're perfect, just mix the lies. If we return the lies, grim Greek ain't taking me down tonight. And as one lane, dear, the God is alive. Jesus Christ, December 25. When I become an angel, at least I'm about to fly. Yeah, that's my wife and my lady is fire. I'll give all the praise to Him as Jesus Christ. And He gave you a life inside eternal time.
Jesus is the King and He's alive. Hallelujah, Jesus is alive.
Christ, He gave you a life to give all the praise. My wife and my lady is fire. I'll give all the praise to Him as Jesus Christ. And He gave you a life inside eternal time.
Jesus is the King and He's alive. Hallelujah, Jesus is alive.
To do about these open verses? What am I supposed to do about these open verses? Because like, I've already seen 7 that I like, and so do I release multiple versions? Do I put out a super song that's like 7 minutes long and it has a bridge and then a beat switch and and that's of the ones I've seen, and of the ones you've seen. Artists are like that maybe don't want to. They think it's corny to do the open verse challenge, are like texting me verses, like big artists. And I'm like, do I include them, or do I need to tell them that they have to do an open verse video to be a part of the help me out, guys. What do I do? What am I supposed to do about these open verses?